Good morning, everybody. On today's menu, we are making red chili burritos. For this recipe, we will need to require about 3 to 4 hours of our time. This is a special request from my Uncle Steve, who came out of his way to deliver the ingredients so that he can get his burritos that I have been promising him for quite some time, but I just never had the time to make them. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started, and let's make something delicious today. So I have everything set up here for our red chili burritos. So we have about 4 pounds of beef stew meat, about 1.5 pounds of beef's foot. We have a whole onion, whole garlic. The chili arbol is optional, but I like a little bit of heat to this dish. It's not going to be very hot. It's just to add a little kick. You have about 4 bay leaves and 2 California chili pods. All this we're going to add together to our beef stew meat while it's cooking, and then we'll get to the next steps later. Okay, so I also forgot to mention that we will be using a cheesecloth. It's a very thin material that they sell in your cooking product aisle, and we're going to be using this cheesecloth to put our beef's foot inside of, so that none of the particles from the beef's foot fall into our beef stew meat. Okay, so now that I have everything in my pot, I'm just going to add water to this, and we're going to let it cook very slowly for about 3.5 hours, maybe even 4, depending on how long it takes for that meat to get tender. I know that some people may be a little grossed out about the beef's foot. Don't be intimidated by it, because that actually brings out a lot of flavor in plenty of different Mexican dishes. You don't have to use it. It's a, I guess it can be an option, but I highly suggest that you use it for this particular recipe here, because it will make all the difference in the flavor of your red chili sauce. Okay, so now that we got it at a boil, we are going to go ahead and put it on simmer and just let it slow cook for about 3 to 4 hours, depending on how long that meat takes to get tender. We are also going to be adding about 2 pinches of salt at this time. So that way we get some flavor into our meat here. So you want to make sure that you mix it around. And then in a little bit, we may be needing to come in here and skim some of this fat out. Some of it is a little too thick, and you don't really want that in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and skim the rest of this fat out here and cover it up and let it finish cooking. This is the reason why we have the cheesecloth, so it's easier to pull it out. Drain, make sure all the juices stay inside of the pot, and then just bring it over. Okay, so after about 3.5 hours, our meat appears to be done. We're going to go ahead and take the meat out of this broth, and I'll teach you guys the next steps. Next, you're going to want to strain the meat and transfer it to another pot while reserving the broth. Okay, next you're going to want to strain out as much as your onion and the red chili pods, as much as you can, and add it to your blender. Okay, I'm using California chili pods. It's up to you. You can use California, you can use Guajillo, New Mexico. I guess those are probably the only 3 that you can use, but my preference is the California chili pods because I like the flavor and I like the color. Okay, so now that we got all of our chilies softened up, we're going to take this broth that we reserved from this meat, and we're going to add it to our blender. You can probably add maybe 2 to 3 cups. That was 2 cups, so okay. At that level right there that you see, this is a good enough level to go ahead and blend with. Okay, so now that you blended up your chili, you can go ahead and bring it to your pan, a hot pan. This is where it gets a little bit messy and it splatters, so be careful. If you're wearing something cute, I would put an apron on. At this time, we are going to season it. So this is where we're going to bring out our cumin, as well as our salt, possibly garlic powder if it needs it. So this is all about taste, so I'll let you know the exact measurements as we go. Okay, so to this I'm going to add a teaspoon of cumin, heaping teaspoon in. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of salt. Heaping teaspoon. And then we're going to mix this around and let those flavors blend together. We will be tasting it to see what else does it need. Okay, so after I finished letting all the flavors and the seasonings marry each other here inside of this lovely red sauce, it's actually perfect. So now this sauce here, we're going to go ahead and incorporate it into our meat. Okay, so now that we got it into our meat, we're going to go ahead and mix it in. And we're going to keep this on simmer to let the flavors kind of marry each other. Okay, so next step is rolling them up. So you will be needing refried beans. Either you can buy the can or you can smash them as I did here. You're also going to be needing sharp cheddar cheese. That's a preference that I have. You can use regular cheddar cheese if you like. And you also need your flour tortillas. You can either use flour or wheat. As I said, it's all preference at this point. Okay, so let's wrap this burrito. So first you're going to take your beans and spread it in the middle of the tortilla. Next, you're going to take your red chili sauce. You're going to add it to the center of the burrito. You can go ahead and put a generous amount. You're going to take your cheddar cheese. You're going to lay it on top. And then you're going to roll it up. So you're going to grab it. And then there you go. Now you have an option of being able to drizzle some of this red sauce on the top of your burrito, or you can just leave it as it is, and either which way it's really good. Okay, there you have it, your oven red chili burrito. Hope you guys enjoyed it.